social media influencers of all kind, be it around tech, finance, creative stuff like fashion, designing, all of that, they appeared out of nowhere a few years ago. Are they eating out of the same pie or are they growing the pie? And their significance has definitely gone up in the last 5 years. Do you think that trend will continue to a point where they become bigger than the stars of yesterday? If not, why? If yes, why?
So, great question. I get asked this literally in every interview that media talks to us about. I mean, it's a completely accretive model.
Explain.
It's not eating into a pie, it's growing the pie. Because it's not like today a social. So if there are 100 pieces
But
of,
I'll say this. My bandwidth to consume content is not unlimited.
Correct.
It's not that just because a new form of entertainment arrived, I have 2 extra hours in my day.
No,
If
time
I-
is finite
Yeah.
and
Time
highly perishable.
You can substitute what you're watching.
That's my question exactly.
Yeah.
No, so I'm
Are
not
we
saying
substituting what we used to watch through stars and actors? If I had 2 hours in a day to consume content, did I take away 1 hour and give it to social media?
you're not taking away from someone. You're adding on to someone. You're another podcast that I'm adding to my day.
No, but I'm taking away that time from the same user, which is
I don't know
finite.
whether it's the same user. And that's where the value is increasing. The best way for me to gauge this is influencer marketing. Right? Hypothetically, advertiser X has increased his marketing budget. It's not like he had $100 and he used to pay a cricketer 30, a Bollywood star 40, and put media in 70.
But do you think that's accurate? Because if I'm a company X which sells shoes, my advertising budget per year is 50 rupees. I'm not going to increase that budget because there is another kind of creator out there. I'm going to split my budget.
My endorsement business, which is the traditional celebrity endorsement business, is growing at a fairly good clip. The influencer marketing
But it
business,
is probably growing at the expense of something else that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
That's
where
essentially your
it's
point.
a conversation again to be delved upon. I don't think it's at the cost of, and I'll tell you why. Because if it's at the cost of the mega shifters, right, should have some kind of decrease or impact. Because if it shifts, the only sign of shifting is if it is shifting at the A+ levels or the B+ levels. Today, the fact of the matter is, it's not like any advertiser is coming and saying, instead of this actor, I'll do 10 creators. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying is, I will find a better use of my digital marketing budget. So, if anything, very sadly, I think it's taking away from platforms. I don't think it's taking away from celebrities.
Explain that.
I think it's taking away from media dollars being spent on platforms.
What are you thinking of when you say platform?
Performance marketing, for example.
Are you talking about Instagram, Google?
Instagram, Google, YouTube. It's taking away
Performance
from there.
marketing is growing though, Vijay. The data shows
But
that.
the performance
But there
marketing
may
is
be other
growing on
buckets
the
that
on the
they're
back
taking
of
from.
creators. They're using creators to
Maybe from
pump in
other-
the performance marketing.
It's definitely going from somewhere. Maybe not performance marketing, but it's going from somewhere else. They're putting it into this because there is.
The digital marketing budgets are exponentially increasing.
There.
Yeah.
I
So,
completely agree.
so the market is increasing.
They're also declining from traditional media and moving to digital media. That is tangible because
true.
even in terms of political spending on advertising, which is a big portion of newspapers and TV channels and
It's all
stuff,
shifting.
they're down 40-50%.
See, advertising will shift to where the eyeballs are. It's the reality.
If newspapers and TV channels and TV news and all of these are getting lesser eyeballs than yesterday, what can people build to become the new avenues for people to consume all of these things?
The creator becomes
The distribution.
the product and the distribution, right? And the reality is platforms like YouTube and others and us to some extent have made this possible.
Then have we answered our previous conversation via this? Creators are taking away the time for content which previously people spent on newspapers, TV
To
news.
some extent, yes. No, because you have to keep one thing in mind. Look, there was a point in time when there was only the whole family would get around the TV and watch it from like 7 to 9 p.m., for instance. That's gone today. Consumption is disaggregated in so many different ways. Like it's, nowadays, for instance, there are still peaks of consumptions, but the distribution is a lot more sort of flatter than it would be when there was only TV, or that you'd only read the newspaper in the morning, or you'd listen to the radio in the morning, or you'd carry the radio and listen to it in your commute. But today, just because of the smartphone and because of all these platforms, consumption of media and entertainment has never been more disaggregated.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Although we all have finite time, but I think the consumption has really... So some level there is cannibalization, but some level the consumption has also
Maybe the
gone up
base is moving
dramatically.
much faster than...
I mean, here's a data point. Indians watch about 1.3 trillion hours worth of video, like of all kinds in a year. In China, that number is about 3 trillion. Chinese just spend a lot. And this is all kinds. This
You're
is not
saying
just
trillion, not billion.
Trillion, right? And I think the right way to actually explain that would be to cut it down, right? Like, I mean, the average time, for instance, per day that an Indian spends on this, like watching video on a smartphone, is over an hour.
Also is another trend that content consumers are getting disillusioned by corporations per se and leaning more towards fragmented distribution. Like, I will trust person X, but not the news agency if they were to publish something. Do you think that's a trend in the market?
I didn't.
Right now, I consume my news from corporation ABC. ABC has reporters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Is the world moving in the trend that tomorrow I don't want to go to ABC, but I want to go to those 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 because I will associate and resonate with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus ABC?
I think there is still credibility left for channels
Credibility is
as well.
important. Yeah.
Channels
Credibility
as
is
well.
important.
But is
I agree.
credibility moving from consolidation to fragmentation?
I see your point. I see your point.
Again, both are happening. Na? Again, there are
some
sometimes you...
extent.
I think it's either moving in this direction or that.
But if some journalist or somebody who you like, you can follow him also. But
Not,
that's
what I'm saying.
not until very recently that was not possible.
Right.
But now you can.
Now you can, yeah. And
So do you think that will be the future? Where people will follow individual journalists they like versus an assortment in aggregated...
like a TV channel, news channel like NDTV, BBC or something.
You have to stretch this out, Nikhil, right? Like, so if you take a 10, 15-year view and you take a look at essentially digital natives, like people who were born in this, like I have 2 boys, 16 and he's going to turn 16 in a few days, and 12. The point you're making is true for them because like my 12-year-old actually refers to Mr. Beast and the stuff he talks about more than he does like BBC or anything. So if you stretch it out, and what they do is, what I can see them also getting really comfortable with, and again, this is all a question of time, attention, and all of that, is essentially very short form. They are not sitting around watching, 2 hours, 3 hours. They aren't. They are like, actually, the action is literally this thumb flicking. They hold the phone in their hands and they're flicking up all the time. They're just going through stream after stream after stream.
And I think
after
for
stream.
that reason, exactly resonating with what you said, content is getting shorter, but it's also moving very quickly away from text to video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
As an independent creator, you have a much bigger shot tomorrow than you ever had yesterday to find an audience.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Completely agree. But what I would, but this is just a view, is I think short form gives you a higher likelihood of success.
Dopamine
Probability.
hit. Quicker dopamine hit.
Yes. Right?
Right. Let's keep summarizing along the way. So the summary of this point is?
The summary of this point is, I feel, to your point, it is I'm not doubting it. I'm definitely seeing it move towards singular creators. And I think I got one data point right now. If I'm not wrong, we can double click on this. Just have a look at the numbers that MediaNet is doing back in the day. How much money a brand or a corporation or a movie used to spend on promoting on MediaNet versus online platform. You'll see that become 1/3.
But essentially what Vijay is saying, that you can be at the scale of one, but you can serve the hundreds, thousands, millions.
Absolutely.
So we said this. We said video is definitely the way forward. And we said the newer generations have shorter time spans, and that trend will likely continue as well.
Yeah, and also that they are likely to be very accepting of just like independent creators and would look at them as experts.
Hi, I'm Nikhil Kamath. I'd love to know what you thought of the episode. Comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.